for it. Stay up in the night and in the morning I'ma rise for it. Heart for it, mind for it, ears for it, eyes for it. Peace and a place on this earth for me and mine for it. Work for it, strive for it, I'ma organize for it. Stay up in the night and in the morning I'ma rise for it. Heart for it, mind for it, ears for it, eyes for it. Peace and a place on this earth for me and mine for it.
Thanks for tuning in to Money, Power, Land, Solidarity. I'm GP Jacob, Jake Verdon. We're here talking about economic development, public policy, land use, power, all from a working class, frontline, anti-racist, leftist, socialist perspective. And we're diving into them waters by looking at the Upper Harbor Terminal redevelopment in North Minneapolis. Today, we're going to talk about the lead developers on the Upper Harbor Terminal, United Properties, owned by the billionaire Pohlad family, which has been granted exclusive access to develop the Upper Harbor Terminal by the city of Minneapolis. Let's get into it. The basis of the Upper Harbor Terminal development is land. 48 acres of land currently owned by the city plan to transfer into the hands of United Properties, a commercial and residential real estate developer owned by the billionaire Pohlad family, owners of the Minnesota Twins, Go 95, and a vast array of other businesses under the Pohlad Company umbrella. The Pohlad Companies are now helmed by the sons and grandsons of late founder Carl Pohlad. Inheritors of billions of dollars, the Pohlad family and individual members are among the wealthiest 100 families in the United States. The Upper Harbor Terminal development is a window into how the capitalist economy consolidates wealth and power into fewer and fewer hands. The city government works to facilitate that process. The oligarchy, the 1%, family nepotism, politicians working at the behest of wealthy donors. These aren't just talking points in presidential politics. Looking at the Upper Harbor Terminal, you can see the oligarchs next door, and you can name the politicians who are greasing the wheels. So today, we're going to look deeper into the Pohlad Companies, get a sense of their role in the political economy of Minnesota over the last 70 years, and how the Upper Harbor Terminal in North Minneapolis fits into that picture. Carl Pohlad, founder of the Pohlad Empire, was born in 1915 in Des Moines, Iowa. The Pohlad billions were built initially in the banking industry. Carl Pohlad actually got his start in the banking industry, helping to foreclose farmers in the Midwest during the Great Depression. After fighting in World War II, Pohlad came home, continuing in the banking industry, started to buy up community banks in the Midwest and consolidate them into his growing Marquette Bank. Pohlad continued to build his banking and financial services, becoming arguably the dominant banking force in the upper Midwest, while diversifying into commercial real estate, entertainment, automotive sales, bottling, and investments. The Pohlads effectively exited the banking industry in 2001 with the sale of their bank holdings that had assets and deposits that reached well into the billions, and they sold those to Wells Fargo. Another major industry for Pohlad was bottling. He built the nation's largest network of independent Pepsi bottling plants and eventually sold them to the Pepsi Company for $2.2 billion. Carl Pohlad was also the last owner of the Twin Cities Rapid Transit Company. The TC Rapid Transit Company had operated the rich network of cable cars and buses that preceded the current Metro Transit system. It was systematically stripped down and its assets sold off, down to the scrap metal of the rails, to make way for the automobile and a certain capitalist type of suburban development. Carl Pohlad ended up buying the company in its last days and sold what was remaining to the Metro Transit Commission in 1970 for $7.9 million. Carl Pohlad was known as an aggressive businessman with a drive to compete and a drive to win. He was a close partner of Minneapolis-based Irwin Jacobs, and their shared strategy of hostile takeovers earned them the infamous title as leading corporate raiders in the deregulated financial scene of the 1980s. Really, this is just a small slice of Carl Pohlad's dealings, and what he's perhaps most known for is as the owner of the Minnesota Twins, the Minneapolis-based Major League Baseball franchise. Carl Pohlad bought the franchise in 1984, and after threatening to move the franchise out of town or to sell it to Major League Baseball to be disbanded when they were trying to contract, Pohlad ended up leading a controversial campaign to get a new stadium built to replace the Hubert H. Humphrey Metrodome. The new Twin Stadium, opened in 2010 at a total cost of $555 million. $355 million of which was paid for by Hennepin County residents through a sales tax and other public subsidies. Carl Pohlad passed away in 2009, leaving ownership and management of the Pohlad empire to his three sons, Jim, Bill, and Robert. The Pohlad sons inherited several billion from their father, making them some of the richest men in America from their inheritance. The Pohlad sons, and now their sons, a third generation, continue to run the Pohlad empire to today. In addition to the twins, the Pohlads also own the radio stations Go 95 and Go 96, marketed as modern radio, one hip-hop and one alternative, capturing a major slice of the radio and media market in the Twin Cities metro. Additionally, the Pohlads own Audi, BMW, Porsche, and Chevrolet dealerships, River Road Productions, a film production company, J.B. Hudson Jewelers, Northmark Capital Investment, PAR Systems, a logistics and industrial technology firm, and several real estate-related firms. Most relevant for our purposes, they own and operate United Properties, a dominant player in the commercial real estate market in Minneapolis. Now that we got a context for the Pohlad empire, I want to zoom in on the specific Pohlad company at play with the Upper Harbor Terminal, United Properties. To really understand what it means that United Properties is getting exclusive rights to develop publicly owned land at the Upper Harbor Terminal, I want to look at all the projects they're currently involved in Minneapolis. UP, United Properties, is currently engaged in multiple high-profile development projects with the city. Let's run them down. First, we're downtown Minneapolis on Hennepin and Nicollet. Across the street from the downtown library and the new Whole Foods, a project named the Gateway because of its position on the eastern edge of downtown as you cross the Mississippi River, United Properties is currently breaking down on a 37-story high-rise tower. It's going to serve as the headquarters for the Royal Bank of Canada's wealth management operation. This project, also built on what is now city-owned land, is exclusively tailored to the wealthy. It will include corporate offices, a 5-star hotel, and 22 luxury condo units. This project is going to dramatically alter the landscape in downtown Minneapolis.
Another one.
Now we're several blocks away from the Gateway down Nicollet Mall, one of the main commercial thoroughfares through downtown Minneapolis. At the intersection of 7th and Nicollet, United Properties has rights from the city to redevelop the recently closed Macy's department store. The 7-story iconic flagship Dayton's Macy's retail space will be redeveloped by United Properties as some sort of hybrid, retail, social, something. It's kind of unclear what's going to be in there, but it looks very hip if you go down there and look at the signs posted outside the building.
Another one.
That Macy's development is across the street from another building owned by United Properties. 651 Nicollet Avenue, named 7th and Nick, is a skyscraper owned by UP that also serves as headquarters for the Pohlad companies. That's already 3 major property developments for United Properties coming from the city of Minneapolis, but we are far from finished.
Another one.
A few blocks from the Pohlad-owned and publicly financed Twin Stadium, United Properties has gotten support from the city to partner with national concert promoter Live Nation to build a hotel and concert venue dubbed Target Field Station. This is doubly interesting from the perspective of the Upper Harbor Terminal because a key feature in the UHT development is also a music venue hotel combination, that one owned by First Avenue. So UP is working with the city to develop venues and hotels in 2 different spots in the city with competitors in the music industry, and they're profiting on both ends.
Another one.
We're not done yet. United Properties is also building the 10-story Nordic House in the North Loop, which will be a mixed-use office and retail space with very limited high-end residencies.
Another one.
And also in the North Loop, UP is developing the Kickernick building, primarily an office space.
Another one.
Another major real estate holding for United Properties is the Ford Center, which houses the Go radio businesses.
Another one.
The developments we just went over are not exhaustive. These are just the properties in Minneapolis. UP also owns and manages suburban office parks and mixed retail housing developments throughout the suburban metro and also in Denver, Colorado.
step back and look at all of that, the massive land holdings of United Properties, how many development projects the city has already facilitated for them, and the dominant level of wealth and influence of the Pohlad companies, it becomes clear that the exclusive rights agreement for United Properties at the Upper Harbor Terminal is a consolidation of wealth and power by one of Minnesota's and the country's most elite white families. We're talking about 48 acres of city-owned land in North Minneapolis, on the industrial riverfront, sandwiched between one of the hearts of Minneapolis's black community and working-class immigrant neighborhoods that are being decimated by gentrification. This is land that has power to shift the ecological, economic, cultural, and spiritual quality of life for some of Minneapolis's most oppressed neighborhoods. But the city gives exclusive rights to develop to one of the most aggressive gentrifiers in the city, a firm that is resting on billions of dollars of inheritance, United Properties, the luxury developer's developer. Something's wrong with that picture.
We're going to leave it right there for today. This was an orientation, an introduction to the oligarchs next door. We're going to dig deeper into the political economy of Minnesota. We're going to critique the capitalist processes as they exist, and we're going to imagine more beautiful, more just, more sustainable ways of doing business. Come back, keep rocking with us. Money, power, land, solidarity.
We need money, land, solidarity. If you funny, stand very far away from me. We have running plans about as far as they can see to keep them coming. Bands building up the company. Shauna told me I was gonna be prosperous. I listen. I'm just praying, making plays a positive addition. Try to knock me off my spot would be preposterous. Y'all fishing in this bitch, illuminate like phosphorus. I glisten, gliding like a Christ on the water. Now you're christened, sliding like I'm ice over top the opposition. Hold a vision in my mind and make it pop about fruition. Expanding these demands, we will not crop the propositions. Shut the closed food